can you hear us? And I guess we lost Griff too. I guess his he said he had to switch his Wi-Fi modem or something.
I was not able to hear, but did you guys were able to finish the conversation about the brainstorming on sponsors names?
Yeah, we got a good list out. We probably at least 5 leads, I think, that Griff is going to reach out to. And then Nate and I were just talking about this concept of strategic messaging, building this almost like a marketing, or what would you call this? But it's like a cultural concept of, if you're a big protocol, you should be funding token engineering. Like, if we could get that message out there at scale, so that all these protocols, it's almost like a competitive advantage. If they can show that they are funding token engineering, it's like a way of building confidence across the ecosystem. And if we could get that to be like a norm, that like if you're a big protocol, you really should be funding token engineering. I mean, that'd be pretty amazing, and maybe we could start working towards that in our messaging. Because they have so much, like, for some of these smaller protocols, it, like, even ENS is huge, but for some of these smaller protocols, they might be willing to fund us because it's very advantageous to them to get their name out there, but they don't have a ton of resources, right? But some of these bigger protocols, like, they have multi-million-dollar budgets that they're working with, and it would be really nice to tap into that level of scale for funding partners.
Yeah, and sometimes I even think that even like sponsorships is one thing, but like having that kind of TEC brand or token engineering brand of public funding for like protocols like an Arbitrum or an Optimism to say, hey, if you want to allocate some funds for token engineering projects, like we'll host a round for your protocol for specific dApps that are interested on building on your protocol versus other protocols, and having that type of kind of almost like a grant program for protocol specific dApps.
I think that's brilliant. It takes a lot of overhead and skills and time and coordination to run around. And that's something that we can be really good at, and we can prove that we're really good at. And that's like where our whole mission statement is starting to line up with, is just being the best possible capital allocators that we can for token engineering public goods. And that very much means specializing in running funding rounds. And Tunable QF is all about bringing education and, well, token engineering basically into the whole QF process. So we're like becoming a very specialized agency when it comes to like understanding and analyzing and running QF rounds. And I like that idea of being able to offer that as a service to like larger protocols. That's really cool. GM Isaac.
Did I interrupt something, or are we just quiet?
We're on kind of I don't know if you'd call it a tangent, but we had a little bit of time. So Griff brought this concept of let's brainstorm sponsors for the next TEGR round coming up. And we spent a few minutes doing that. We got Griff some leads, probably about 5 leads or so. And then he seemed to drop. He said he was going to switch his Wi-Fi modem, and then he dropped and hasn't been back. That was like 5 minutes ago. So not sure if he'll be back. but we were able to brainstorm a little bit with him. And then that just led us into a larger conversation of large protocols sponsoring token engineering and funding token engineering. And then also this concept of TEC being like a specialized round operator, because it takes a lot of expertise and time and coordinate on rounds like this. And I think we're getting really good at it. And we could offer this as a service to larger protocols. Like we could actually run rounds for larger protocols. It's like a service offering.
I've been actually thinking about that too. I think, Gitcoin's, how do you say it? Like, they are pushing hard for independent, for professionalized service providers. And so, for example, Disruption Joe, who used to work at Gitcoin, left Gitcoin to work on his own stuff, and he's running rounds for Arbitrum and all that, and he's making a living off that. So we can probably make something as well. Hey Griff, what's up? I guess very quickly, because we have 20 minutes, just wanna check. I'm not sure how much of these you guys talked about. The But I'll just say the TEGR2 retrospective, a quick update. I don't think it will happen. Been thinking about it for the past week and yesterday, and because we already had the meeting with the advisors and all that, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to make the retrospective if we can inform the next round, and we're also running the next round already, so we are a bit tight on time. So I think it's best if instead of doing the retrospective for the second round, we focus on making sure it happens for the following round. And even for the following, include learnings from past rounds, but don't want to get too distracted, to be honest. And then Sean said you guys were brainstorming on some sponsor stuff. I don't know if we want to continue with that, or if we want to give updates on the meeting we already had, or the OP migration work. I'm sorry, I don't know. This is, I guess, just habit. I just took over the meeting, but I don't know what was happening.
No, let's dive into it. We can start with the reserve currency.
Yeah, I just want to say, Isaac, you go for your. This is definitely feels right. Please take over the meeting. We were moving pretty slow without you, so it's really nice to have you here.
Thanks. I started talking, and then I was like, "Oh damn! I just run over whatever they were doing." But cool. Tom, I know you wanted to join now because of the OP migration stuff. I don't know how how big of a priority it is. So I guess it's on you to see if we talk about it now or.
So I just dropped it in our chat here in this channel, the document that we worked on Friday around the decisions that the TEC community have to make. I know we started discussing, here are the next steps. So sort of like a forum post and then updating and voting on the covenant. So there's actually like a lot of work to do just on the covenant, and we didn't talk about the reserve currency yet. And so I think we decided we would use this call to figure out how we could start to break those pieces of work. Who could take on any or all of those pieces of work? So that's what I would propose we find out or we discuss. Here, I'll share my screen is here. I mean, the big thing, of course, is like writing this forum post describing the guardians, the parameters, nomination request, and then updating and voting on the covenant for optimism. Would be, updating the covenant and then voting on it would be the next thing, and then like setting up the votes. and then setting up the self-nomination for guardians. So I think it's like three medium-sized pieces of work. And if no one else does it, I'll do it. But I also think, I also think it's just a lot for me to take on right now, and I wonder if anyone else would be interested in doing any of these pieces.
Do you have like what's timelines? Because I'm about to go full on round mode. So I don't. I'm happy to do whatever. I'm just not sure if I can commit this month, for example.
October, you mean? Yeah. So it did. Yes, I do have timelines, but not in a place right now. I mean, it depends on the earliest we would be able to migrate the TEC would be mid-November. But all of this would have to be done by maybe the first week of November. But all of this includes this initial Guardian self-nomination, which means we need a forum post to explain the Guardian. I mean, that just what I'm saying is that that's a long time. That's a 2.5, 3 week process. And the same with the voting, writing the covenant, ratifying the covenant. Maybe that can be shorter, but these would, I think all three of these pieces will take, minimum a week, 2 weeks. Maybe the first one could be done faster. And if you're going full on grants mode, and Isaac, I certainly wouldn't want to distract you from that because there's a lot of moving pieces there.
Yeah, Tam, I'm willing to take on any of these. I don't know which one, to be honest. I think I prefer for you to and delegate what you think would be best for me to take, or if you want me. For example, I'm a bit unsure on the forum post about the Guardians because I'm not sure I have the full context of them. I mean, I could definitely give them a try and we can work together on it. But yeah, I prefer for you to choose that work for me, and I'm 100% down to helping out.
And if you draft the forum post for the Guardians, I can definitely support. I feel like I have a really good understanding of the Guardian system. I can review it if you draft it. It's just to take it out of Tam's plate. I know Tam could do it too, but
Yeah, and I think I mean, a lot of the parameter discussions happened already, and that's the important part. So I feel like that piece is a little plug and playable, and that would be great if you would take on that piece. And then the covenant would sort of be more. Right now, our covenant talks about select, and the new would be more specifically about the guardians as the mediators of proposal challenges, and then organizing the vote. And then last, for the guardians, so once the forum post is up, there'll also be a call for guardians to self-elect, and then managing the process of opening a vote on Snapshot, collating all of the self-nominations in a forum post, and then setting it up on Snapshot. Nate, I saw you unmute for a minute. Did you wanna share something?
I was just going to ask about kind of the technical implementation of it. So this would preserve the state where token balances would transfer directly to the wallets of each token holder, and therefore the permission is simple and not something that needs to be approved of.
For the migration, you mean?
For the migration, yeah.
For the migration will to the token holder be seamless. One day you'll still have tokens on Gnosis that won't have any value, and you'll have tokens on Optimism.
Okay. And so those token balances do not change, and therefore the permission is implicit within the OP migration itself, right?
What do you mean the permission's implicit? The balances won't
I'm
change,
just
but I
saying
don't understand the second part.
I'm just saying, like, since we're making a change to the reserve currency, that the value of those tokens will remain the same generally. And if they're not, I feel like
Oh,
this is something that we'd have to have pretty large support from token holders rather than just a couple of big holders, and it might be a point of contention, and that's my only concern.
yeah. I don't know. We haven't dug into the reserve currency yet. I mean, many people have thought about it for a long time and have some different ideas about it, but we haven't in our discussions yet dug into it. But that makes sense if it's not a stable coin.
Yeah, I guess my biggest concern is just kind of like if people are firmly against one type of migration versus another, do they have the option to opt out of this migration and take their money that they do have currently within the TEC and get out of it, or would they just be required to sell before the migration happens?
Will take their tokens and get out of it and sell before the migration happens. Like the same thing to me. What's true?
One option could be to consider a
Right.
period of. Is it me or? Is it my
Tam,
internet or?
yeah, and I think Tam, you got some lag there. You might want to try turning your camera off. It might help.
Yeah, I didn't hear that last part that you said, Tam.
I'm sorry about that, Nate. So I mean, for me, it's like if you opt out, you are selling your tokens before the migration, right?
Yeah, so that's where my concern exists, is that if we say we have enough votes to actually pass the OP migration, but there's enough people who disagree as token holders that we drain a significant amount of the reserve pool from the token, because a lot of people just either they didn't pay attention to the vote or didn't want to don't agree with the OP migration, that it reduces the amount of our reserve currency that actually exists during that migration, and it could be a net negative if that were to happen. If that makes sense.
It's a possibility, but I hope that kind of action would come up in the discussions. But I see what you're saying. If there is somebody who is a token holder and is not aware and doesn't respond to DMs and many, I don't know, and doesn't. Yeah, it could happen. I guess it doesn't seem the most likely. So.
What's the action that the token holder needs to take? Is there an action, or do they just they just have OP like tokens on OP all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, we'll just
So
airdrop it.
there's
I mean, I hope that's what I'm advocating for. Sorry, Tam, you can go ahead, because we could do it the other way.
yeah.
But I think
Exactly what Griff was saying. There's different ways of doing it, but we really want to do it the way where the user has to do nothing. That they wake up and they have TEC tokens in their OP wallet.
And then, given that, I think Nate, you might be hinting at something slightly different from that, which is like people just if there's token holders out there who like they don't support the migration, so they choose to sort of exit the economy before the migration happens. Like,
Yeah, the magnitude of that, depending on the magnitude of that, you could see the reserve pool drain a lot more than we anticipated, and that would be kind of I don't know, a net negative in terms of the new curve.
But I mean, they can. Well, first, I think being able to exit is already a good thing. I'm a fan of rage quit and things like that, so I think it's similar. And then it's also like they can vote no in tau voting. So if they like, I think if anyone chooses to exit, I think the proportion is going to be low because they can voice their opinion. It's very likely that some people exit. It's fairly it's not that likely that people will like that'll make a huge impact because they have other venues to express dissent. If they are in and if they end up selling anyways, I think it's best for us to have a lower reserve. First, we get exit tributes, which is good, and second, I mean, in the TC, I think it's best if we just have people that actually want to be token holders, and if the vote passed, it means that they have to choose whether they appreciate more the TC or the chain. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. I just wanted to bring up the possibility of that reserve pool being a lot lower if we have enough votes to pass, but enough people or disagree with it that they exit the economy, and all of a sudden the token value that has been transferred is a lot less than what people anticipated when they first voted for the OP migration. And so I'm just throwing out all possibilities and just kind of evaluating it and just getting edge cases to look at.
Cool. Then maybe in the next steps, do you feel confident there with what's in this doc to help you start drafting a forum post that myself and Griff can review and leave feedback on? Bear. Sorry, what did I say? Did I say Bear? Regarding the Guardians, this document here. The forum post for Guardians.
Yeah, I think so, Tim. Yeah, I think I can start with that, and we can go from there. I'll probably include this within the Notion board as tasks, and I'll include this as part of the spec of the task, so we can all use that also for coordination.
Awesome. Thank you, Bear.
Also, yeah, no problem, Tam. And yeah, also in relates with the OP migration. So I would guess that this coming Friday we would have the reserve currency conversation on the TCAN. Is that right, Tam? Are you planning it that way?
I think that would be great. I have a conflict on part of our TCAN call, but I know Griff is very happy to lead the reserve currency discussion. And then there was two other subjects, the tau parameters and one more. And maybe we could, depending on how long the reserve currency discussion goes, maybe we could tackle all three in this Friday's call.
I don't imagine the reserve. We talked about the reserve currency yesterday with Bear and Nate and everyone was like, "Oh, we should do like a ETH derivative, like an LST." It was unanimous. I imagine that it might be the same in the TCAN conversation. I don't know, but I don't think it's a complex conversation. So
Cool.
Yep. I don't know if there's anything people. Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just curious on like if we did do some type of interest-bearing asset for the reserve currency, how would the bonding curve treat that in terms of would we just have a steadily increasing token price, or would we have some type of like transfer buyback common pool type of transfer?
well, you could say steadily increasing, but since it'd be paired with ETH, it'll be paired to, it'd be like if OP was in there, if OP goes up, or if ETH goes up, then our TC price goes up. If ETH goes down, the TC price goes down. And so with an LST, it's going to go up more than ETH and down less. So it's kind of hard not to want to do that.
Yeah, I guess the TC denominated in Ether will always go up. In USD will depends on the USD price of Ether. But we could actually, I don't know, that's probably too complicated. But I think the other thing you asked is about taking some of the API in the reserve to the common pool. That's interesting, I guess. We could, I don't know, consider that at least. So if I don't know if API is 5, the common pool gets 1%, and the token holders get 4. But whatever. I don't know if people have something else they wanna say. We are already at the top of the hour. Very quickly, I guess I shared in the chat the forum post for the savings die proposal. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I just have to figure out how to make the EVM CRISPR script, and if it's too complex, I would probably just set up a multisig to do the swap. But yeah, please check it out and leave any comments, questions, or whatever on the forum.
I think it would be easy. I hope that we can use EVM CRISPR. It shouldn't be more than an approve and a function call. So
Yeah, I've never done anything with EVM CRISPR besides something really simple. I have to check.
yeah, for sure. I mean, either way, hopefully we do a test vote even, which will suck, especially if we don't have Gideon. It would really suck. When does Gideon get back?
Somewhere around the first week of November, so we should be good.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess the good news about this is we would get almost 2K every month till we move to optimism. So I think that's that covers at least some stuff. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, then I think we can leave it here. And I'll catch you guys next week. Remembering next week we have planning, so planning a retrospective. So make sure to update your tasks and come prepared. And again, I'm always available if needed. Catch you all later.
Thanks, Isaac.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Isaac.
everybody, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.